Hello and welcome to the South Talkies podcast. Twitter gave us this wonderful chance of getting in touch with Maha Venkatesh, the director of Care of Kancharipalam. What follows is a very relaxed and a fairly detailed discussion of how the movie was made. Maha also talks to us about his next venture, Uma Maheshwara Ugrarupasya, an official remake of Maheshinta Pratikaram. There are spoilers for the movie in this discussion.
Maha, I think we couldn't praise you enough for the movie. So it's been quite a long, since we saw something that was very sweet and cute, and that was also very deep. So thank you for that. So my first question is this: I thought the biggest success of Care of Kancharapalam was how the characters on screen looked very real and relatable, but the situations that they end up in were extraordinary. I kind of thought there were two persons here. One, the writer, who kind of let himself be completely free, think of these wonderful sequences that we have not explored earlier, but the director like made it very very real. So how do you balance these two parts of a movie making, writer as well as the director? Because I thought they played totally contrasting roles here. Take this track of Gaddam and Salima. Even if you write it on a paper or explain it to someone, they will be like, what is this, is it possible? But on screen, like we felt it so real, and we connect to them. So how is it possible, this writer director conflict?
Yeah, so there is also another person here in this whole process. There is someone called actor also. So a writer can write something like for example, Gaddam and Salima story, or a director can imagine the story. So I actually, since my childhood, I always wanted to become an actor. So even though I used to write something and draw something, I used to draw a lot of pictures, write a lot of, a lot of stuff. But I always wanted to become an actor. So I came to the industry in 2009 to become an actor. So that actor in me helped writer and the director while making Care of Kancharapalam. So when I wrote the screenplay, I sat in the streets of Kancharapalam. So I literally wrote the screenplay sitting in middle of Kancharapalam and also the people of Kancharapalam. So it didn't. It was not a big, difficult task for me to visualize this thing, this whole thing that I wrote. As a director, it was not that hard for me to visualize this whole thing that I wrote into a film, because the reason is because I wrote it in middle of Kanchipalam, seeing all the people, all the places, locations, and all. So the visualization part became very easy, but the tough task is to make actors look like the characters in my film. So then the actor, the one wanted to be an actor. I told you, right? I wanted to become an actor. So that actor in me, uh, you know, uh, uh, helped me in doing this. I'll tell you how. I literally enacted, rehearsal each and every character of the film while writing itself. That's my habit of writing. That's how I write. While write, even now, while writing, I act all those characters and all those dialogues, all those mannerisms, and also differences between the mannerisms, like from character to character, the mannerisms change, right? So all those things I act for myself, and then I put it on paper. So that actor helped me a lot in understanding the details of care of Kancharapalam and the people of Kancharapalam. And then I took this step. I don't know whether, like, at that time, uh, it was a risk. A risk is what I can tell. everyone, my friends, all my well wishers told me this is a big risk, you can't do this at all. But since I casted people from Kancharapalam itself, like most of the actors who played the characters, who played those roles, are actually the inspirations for those characters. For example, Raju, he is himself an inspiration for that character. I saw him on street. I took his photograph secretly. I went to my friend I went to that one friend I have in Kanchirapalam, and I showed him and I asked him what's his story. My friend used to tell me, my friend told me the story of Subbarao, and then that story inspired me in some way. In some way, it inspired me to write a story of Raju. So I casted the same guy into Raju's character. So due to all this, it didn't become difficult for me to bring whatever I wrote on paper to the screen. It was not difficult for me in bringing that all these three guys, writer, director, and actor. As an actor, I observed all those things and I actually made them act. So somewhere somehow all these three qualities helped each other to in bringing the screenplay to the screen.
Wow, I mean, that was so beautiful. So, you might be aware about Robert Bresson, hailed as one of like the pioneers of cinema. It just occurred to me that obviously you articulated much better. So he had a similar style. So he not only he hated professional actors, but his problem was that he hated acting itself apparently. So what he would do is he would go on the streets, make people let them be, and get inspired. So I mean, it was very inspiring the way you told it.
Yeah, it's also the same. Robert Bresson is a French filmmaker, like as per my knowledge. So, like as you told me, hated the acting, right? So even I hate acting in a way. I'll tell you just a small line that I want to tell you is when I wanted to become an actor, there was this one principle for me in my mind. So I used to, probably because of that one principle, I never got a good role in films and I became a director. So it's a fortune. So that principle is acting is actually it's the only word in this whole wide world which has its own which has its opposite meaning as its own meaning. Acting means not acting for me. So in a way, I hate acting. I don't hate. I love people who don't act. Like off screen and on screen. That's another thing. Yeah, yeah.
So I think I should prepone a question that I had later. It is in a funny way. So since you told me that you acted, imagined like the scenarios and played it out while writing, I thought your characters were so beautiful when they were in love. Does it come from the director?
Probably because if you like, I have to tell you this: all the names that I used in the film for the girls, for the women, are the names that I have I had in my life. Okay, so from Sunita to the Bhargavi to Salima, and I don't know, I might meet. I may meet Radha in future, but all these names are there in my life. So probably, yeah, somewhere from my life I inspired. So I inspired for characters. I inspired from the people of Kanchirapalam, and for the stories I inspired from my own life.
Okay, that was awesome. We all like the happy ending, and I hope you don't have to wait till 49. Yeah,
We'll see.
yeah. Uh,
Yeah.
and one more very fascinating thing for me from your brief, biography, we heard that you were in Chennai for some time. So, do you
Yeah.
manage to watch some Tamil movies also?
Yeah, I have very good friends in Chennai. I've worked in Sun Network for a couple of shows. Yeah, predominantly one show that I like, Super Kudumbam. You might have heard about it. So I worked for Super Kudumbam for some time, almost like for 1 year, I think. So I have very good friends in Tamil Nadu, Chennai. One of them is Kavya. Kavya Chanda is one of my very good friends, and she's also an associate director on the show. So she and her father used to, like, we used to hang out, and we used to go and watch films. One film that I like, she's the one who actually introduced me to a lot of Tamil cinema. We watched Raja Rani together, all those things. But since there are a lot of, there are a lot of dubbing films in Telugu. So since my childhood, there are a lot of I watched a lot of Tamil films in dubbed version, Telugu version. Yeah. So
Nice.
yeah.
So, my question was that I was so fascinated by the music in your movie, especially this Amy Janmanu and Calcutta Kali.
Yeah.
So,
Yes, it's
y-
my favorite one also.
yes, yes, yes. My question was I had a similar feeling when I saw this movie called Meya the Man. You may not have heard or you might have seen about in Tamil movie.
No,
But
I haven't seen.
okay, in both the movies, to describe the characters' moods or their ways of life, the songs are in such a way that is different from like mainstream music. For instance, this Calcutta Kali and Amy Janmanu, both of them you cannot call it as like some traditional Telugu or South Indian music. But for the character and their like situations, it is so perfect. My question to you is, do you think mainstream music doesn't really capture the music of common people?
My answer is yes, because so there are a lot of variations in the music that's there outside cinema, but most of the times our films, like, somehow since the beginning of cinema in South India or India, I don't know, in India itself, somehow in the beginning of cinema, in the beginning of in the beginning decades of cinema, like 30s, 40s, 50s, or 60s, it was still, that music used to be still there in some or the other shape, or some or the other form. But from 70s and 80s, cinema film music has become a different music than what the music will than than the music that's there in life, everyday life. So so I totally believe that the music like Amijan Mamu or Calcutta Kali is definitely not there in mainstream cinema at all. So, I mean, like, not at all. There are films like Kancharapalam itself, there are films like that which used that kind of music. But most of the mainstream cinema has a different genre. It's altogether a different genre of music.
Let's
Yeah.
say in Calcutta Kali, if you had put some, like generic Kutu number, we would not have felt the effect, I thought. This felt like, they were just partying randomly. It doesn't have to be perfect. The imperfection was very beautiful.
Yeah, so yeah, that's what one most important thing that I learned in the process of making Kancharapalam was imperfection is at times it actually looks like perfect. So that's why when even in my second film, when I directed my second film, I actually casted few seasonal actors, for example Satyadev or Naresh sir, so all these experienced actors. So and also I casted bunch of people from the same locality, and I trained them, and I mixed I mixed the style and mixed the style, and I made my second film. So I used to tell the seasonal actors, professional actors, uh, to be imperfect, to fit with the people who are acting next to them. Yeah, because those guys are doing, like, those guys are not acting because they are not professional or trained, and these actors who are trained or like professional or experienced, they're acting. So what happens is, on screen, we can literally differentiate who is an actor. Like, that would mess the whole experience, right? So that's why I asked season, like when my experienced actors, seasonal actors, asked me, these guys are not like this guy is not doing perfectly. And then I actually asked my professional actor to be imperfect, to match with their style or to match with those people. So yeah, that's what I feel like. At times, imperfection becomes perfect.
I have two questions, so I'll go with the first one. So there are two scenes I really enjoyed a lot in Care of Kancharepalam. The first scene is when Ramamurthy is fighting with his employer when he refuses to give more money. Because this fight is not like what we have seen in cinema. So the employer is shouting, and he's writing and responding. Because he cannot speak. So, how did you come up with this thought process? You have in other podcasts spoken about why Ramamurthy has a stammer, about the person you knew in Chennai and how he was an inspiration. But I wanted to understand your thought process behind this scene.
So when I was working in Chennai in Sun Network, I met this person called Kaliyasamy. Kaliyasamy was the art director, and he was working he was he was working there in Sun Network for almost like 26 years, and his salary was only 24,000 or something around 24,000 or 25,000. So I was a little kid in front of him, literally. When I when I worked, I was like 25 or something. I went from Hyderabad, and I started, ordering him for work. Ordering. I One day we were having some. I don't know. I think we were having some drink or something after work. So, and I asked him, since how long you were working in art direction. I like He told me that it's 26 years. Like, he's 26 years experienced in art direction. Then I asked him, okay, what's your salary, sir? If you don't mind, can you tell me what's your salary? He told me 24,000, 25,000 something. So I asked him, sir, I earn more than you. I'm nothing in, like, if I compare with you, I have very less experience. I'm nothing in front of you, but I am earning more than you. So why do you think that? Why do you think you are not earning, or like why do you think that you got stuck in this one place? uh, Believe me, Kumar, he was an exceptional artist. If you just give him some, thermocol and a blade, he'll just sculpt a beautiful idol from it. So he was a wonderful artist. Like, I always want to work with him in future, when everything gets into my hands. So I asked him, and then he answered me just one thing: because I can't speak. Okay, so he has a big time stammering. You can just see Kalyasamy in Ramurthy character. Kalyasamy speaks exactly like Ramurthy. To finish a single word, it takes a lot of time for him to finish okay sir. For to tell okay sir also, it takes a lot of time for him. So he just told me one thing: since I can't speak, everyone who can speak growing in their lives. And I just settled down here in this company, in this with this salary, because I have a family, and I think this is the right place for me. It's a very safe place for me to earn some money every month and to have a job. I don't know whether if I leave this job, I don't know whether I'll get a job or someone will take me or not. So while writing Kancharapalam, I remembered his words while creating Ramamurthy's character, and I wanted him to take that one risky step of 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 resigning his job and doing like taking bigger challenges and growing in life. So that Kalyasamy, that one word told by Kalyasamy, that one line, that one sentence told by Kalyasamy inspired me in making him fight with his owner and get out of from that workshop and start his own business. So that inspired that I got that inspiration from literally from Kalesami. And the other thing why I made him a stammering guy is the one thing that he told me is again Kalesami's inspiration. The inspiration is from Kalesami, because since he cannot speak, uh, since he cannot explain his ideas, or since he cannot speak, he has to he remained you know he remained as what he is, right? So that's why I just, even though we don't have voice, or even though we can't express our ideas, ideas are valuable. It's just that we cannot explain those ideas, or it's just that the capability is valuable, right? It's just that you can't express or explain your capability. So all these things that one conversation happened over drinks with Kalesami inspired me while writing Ram Murthy's character. Yeah. So for me, like it was very emotional. I was very emotional while writing Ramu. Not only Ramurthy's character, but all the characters while writing all the characters. But Ramurthy's character, while writing that character, I wrote that with a great respect towards Kalesami, and with a great less respect towards the idea called dignity of labor. Yeah.
That's great. I also wanted to know your views on this Gaddam Salima proposal scene. So there are two parts, right? First, when he proposes, he realizes that she's a prostitute. He's shocked and he comes back. So the next day he proposes again, and that conversation is just beautiful. I can say that it is the best proposal scene I've seen for quite some time. Uh, and especially, so the best part is when Salima explains and lays down some conditions, right? Initially you think as to why she's laying all these conditions, but later it makes sense as to whatever she's asking. So how did you come up with that? I mean, what was your thought process?
I still feel like men usually think that they are doing a favor to, like, most of the men, not everyone, not good guys like you, but most of the men think most of the men think that they're doing a great favor to women, in accept when they accept a woman with flaws, or when they accept women with, you know women with like, or a divorced woman, or a woman who has a bad reputation or something. In our films, usually when for example, there is a film in Telugu where the heroine gets raped on street in front of a lot of people, and suddenly divine hero comes and accepts her, and the whole world treats him as if he's doing some great thing in accepting her on all those things, huh? So when I fixed the character as prostitute and Gaddam as a from a conservative environment, I wanted to make him a little evolved guy. So because if so for example, a guy like Gaddam in real life don't behave like that most of the times, huh? There's a great chance of a boy like Gaddam not behaving like that, but I made him behave like that so that we can plant that thought in people of that environment also. So we can also think like that. It's okay to think like an evolved person also. And so just to give them that idea. So and this thing that main shamanism, like I don't know what to call it as, but men most of the times when they think that they're doing a great favor to the woman by uh, uh, great favor to women. You can it doesn't happen, it's not vice versa. So when women they women don't feel like they're doing some great favor to in marrying a playboy, but men think that they're accepting a woman who has relationships in the past or something like that. So yeah, you understand, right? So we in Telugu we call it as uddharinchifying, uddharinchadam. So uddharinchadam means saving them, accepting them, all this kind of thing. So I wanted to break that when it comes to Salima, because and I wanted to break that from with the use of Salima's character. So it's okay, I'll take care of you. He says in the conversation also, he says it's okay, you leave the job, I'll take care of you. And Salima breaks it. Okay, what are you talking? Do you think that you're going? You're saving me or something? So I wanted to break that somehow, and that scene, I got a chance to break that in that scene.
In that love dynamics, just by the preceding scenes, we thought Gaddam had an easy chance because of what Salima was doing. But Salima was very unapologetic about what she was doing. She said, like my mother did it, I also chose to do it. You don't have to save me, don't think you are a hero. And every time she sets constraints, like what he has to do.
Yeah, exactly.
And
So
she wants him to introduce her to her friends.
I have women like that in my life, Hari or Kumar. Trust me, we need at least one woman like that in our life. Otherwise, the male ego, it won't let us be good, be a good boy or good man. There should be one woman. I have multiple women like that in my life who actually tinkered me and sculpted me properly in my life.
Maha, we do appreciate, like as women, we do appreciate when male directors write very strong female characters. So I really appreciated Salima's character or even Bhargavi's character, who were so bold and outspoken, and you showed a softer side to them as well. So that's how women are in real life. So I'm in great awe of that.
So Maha, one last question from me before I give it to Pallavi. So I really liked Bhargavi's character a lot, and especially the actor's acting. But the choice of the actor was very unconventional. Typically, whenever there is a Brahmin girl on character, we don't have this look. So I wanted to understand how you cast her in that role.
Yeah, when I was casting that character, so I had a Brahmin woman in my life, so who was also a dancer. So when who was also fair and whatever the stereotypical Brahmin girls features are, all those characters were there in my woman's, my woman. But while cast, but so that's what I also used to think the same way, the stereotypical way when it comes to Brahmin girls. But when I was in relationship with this woman, um, so what happened? I used to meet her friends who were actually dark, who are also Brahmins and who are also dancers and who are also everything like the same. This woman, but I used to feel like Brahmin woman. Okay, how could it be possible? Is what I like. It was like way back, like 10 years ago, or like some years ago. Okay, so when I was casting for Bhargavi, I wanted it to be very unconventional, and uh, I wanted to cast a dark girl for this Brahmin dancer character, because just to let the world know that all Brahmins are not fair, or like light complexion, light skinned women. Because I have seen women like that. Since I have seen women like that, I wanted to show the same reality to the world also. So that's why I casted that particular Pranita for that character. In fact, in real life, Pranita was not. Pranita is not a Brahmin, but she is a very good classical dancer. So that helped me. And yeah, there are, and since the film is also unconventional, and I wanted to try all, I wanted to try all unconventional methods in every craft. That also helped. Like that also helped me in casting an unconventional Brahmin girl.
How did Raju remain a sane person having, like faced all this? Did How did all these, experiences not break him?
Yeah, so it all those experiences broke him to pieces. That's why he became like that. So, I always suggested all the audience, like all people who approached me after watching the film, to just think what would have happened in between the stories after leaving Hinduism. What consequences would have happened in his life? His mother also died, and his mother also died, and then there could be a fair chance of influences from the other religion, and then like all those things. I asked everyone to visualize, or think whatever they want to think in between stories. So yeah, so he broke a lot. He broke into pieces after Gaddam's story, after Salima's death. He broke into pieces, and then after 19 years, or like after 18 years, we are seeing Raju like this. So we could only imagine how what things Raju surpassed in order
Why
to
I'm
become
asking this is because in
that Raju.
traditionally in all the other
Yeah.
movies, these unhappy love stories have been used as a reason for a person's turn in character in a bad way. Let's say he becomes, a serial killer or a rapist, or he wants to become, yeah. Yeah. No, I was so fascinated. Like after that climax, I was just doing whatever you were telling now, right? So filling in, like what would have happened between each of the stories. All these brutal experiences, right? Two hangings in his life. One his father death, Salima's, like death, and Bhargavi's, scenario. But like Raju still has so much belief in people, right? but we have only seen, people turning bad, like they like I said, they become serial killers or rapists, and they become, molesters and so on. Is it a hope, or do you think such people are there, where they still recover from very bad things in their life but somehow become good?
Yeah, there are people like that. There are definitely people like in my. I'm not that older also, but since I left my house at 16, and for now now it's like 15 years I'm outside my house, and I lived all my life on my own. Um, and I've seen a lot of people. I met a lot of like I'm fortunate to to meet all these people in my life. Who So most of the people are like Raju. Most of the people are like Raju. So for example, uh, my father, like I'm just telling you my example because like I, instantly I can remember these things. Like my father passed away in 2000. It's been 20 years, and I saw my mom few days ago, and she was very happy. We actually distributed some food on my father's death anniversary, and she was cooking all that food, and she was okay with all these things. Like she's not crying after 20 years. She's very happy. She's happy. She might be thinking inside that, she might be thinking or remembering my father inside, but to the outside world she's very happy. She didn't hurt anyone. She didn't hurt anyone. So this is just a small example. For me, after Salima's death, Gaddam did become, a nasty guy or a creepy guy. Okay, but after that stage, he became Raju. So even for there are there is a personal experience for me. Like I learned it from that, and there are a lot of people that I met who actually behaves bad after a loss or something like that. But if they can sustain that period, and they just if we pass that period, right, so we'll become Rajus in our lives, is what I think. That's what a lot of people, like when I ask someone, when I ask people to think what would have happened after Gadam thing, they came up with a lot of things, like he might have become a kind of sannyasi or like that and all. No, he had, he also became a bad guy. Like like if you see in films, as you told me, bad guy or a sadist or a psycho or a serial killer, he did become not a serial killer definitely, but he behaved badly with people for some time, and then he started realizing, and he became Raju.
No, that was very poignant, right? Also, your the story, personal story, it was very moving. Uh, yeah, thanks a lot for
Yeah,
sharing. Now I'm able to see, actually, so
yeah, no problem.
time can, heal people, and like you just said, people can turn bad, but their inherent goodness will bring them back, if they are surrounded by good people. I think that's a very.
Yeah, exactly. The like, and it's also like, that's why. So I recently told one thing to Pravina, and she was like, "Okay, why are you becoming a guru to me?" So I recently understood that they usually say practice makes man perfect, right? It's actually, for me, practice makes a man human. So it takes a lot of practice. It's no Being good is not at all easy. Being calm or being Raju is not easy. It takes a lot of practice to be like that. To be Raju, it's like Raju also practiced a lot to become Raju. Yeah, so it no, so that's why practice
Yeah,
makes a man
that again
perfect.
was beautiful. We now understand, like what all goes in the mind of the creator when we see a product like Care of Kanjarpalam. Thank you.
Maha, I just wanted to touch upon something which I noticed in the movie. I see that you brought up quite a lot of social issues which plague the country today and in general the world. So, did anywhere in the process of writing this film or making this film you feel that this will be too many things to talk about in one single movie and the audience might think we're not touching upon a single topic and
Yeah, I
delving
didn't
into too
feel
many
like that
things?
because even I hate films which give preaches. I hate films which give messages. Okay, so I like, and I didn't want to hate my own film. So what I felt is that while writing, while bringing up all these topics, one thing I took good care of is not being preachy. It should go on with the characters and with the story. No character should speak with the audience. They have to speak with themselves, or they have to. In fact, they shouldn't speak. If you see in film, no character speaks with themselves. I would have done like this. I would have done like that. And those those self-talking scenes are also not there. So I took very good care of not making it a preachy film, but I used those social taboos or all these elements that you're talking about as the part of conversation or as a part of character, and tried to maintain it not to be a preaching film. So because yeah, as I told you, if Kancharapalam was a preachy film, I would have hated myself. Or I, like if people, and after the release of the film, if people, I was actually a little scared also, uh, but somewhere I believed in my own craft and I made that.
Right, right. One of the things which I noticed is that you touched upon homophobia and the topic of him
Yeah,
maybe being gay. And I want to understand what was your thought process in that. That is something our country is still plaguing with. I mean, most people, even in urban societies, are also a little
yeah,
confused on that topic. What was your thought process behind that angle? And I really enjoyed that scene where he's being
yeah.
questioned by the village leaders
Yeah,
about his sexuality.
so when it comes to this topic, I actually lose my tongue. Basically, I use bad language since it is a public forum. I'm controlling myself. So the thing is, I wanted to show how people think. How a man who is not married is a gay for these guys. A man who is, who can't produce kids is a gay. So it became very easy for them to call someone a gay, and it became very funny to to say something like, even in our friends also we call someone like who acts little effeminate as a gay or something like that, right? So I just wanted to show that shade of the society. I wanted to show that shade of that society, and I know I just wanted to show how, like how many ways that society is using that gay or like anything like that uh, to to only to hate people. Okay, so I just wanted to show that I didn't get a chance. I have another. I'm like while I was writing, I was thinking about another point, but I couldn't incorporate it in the film because the story didn't demanded it. But the other side of that, like the other thought that I wanted to incorporate is, so uh, when you walk on street, Pallavi, so when you see a man, do you tell your friend, hey, it's a man? Or when you see a woman, Hari, do you tell your friend, hey, that's a woman, right? I'm just asking you questions.
That's
Yeah,
not something you'll point
yeah.
out to
But
somebody. It's
when
yeah.
you see a person or a gay, immediately you will say your friend that he's a gay. That he's hey, he's a gay man. Even though we are evolved or we are educated and we are okay with the gender or all those things are like, even though we are so evolved, somehow it became a habit to address them separately, address them specifically, right? So I tried to tell something, but it didn't demand, the film didn't demand it. I tried, the point is, the day when we don't recognize them separately, or the day when we don't tell our friend, hey, it's a gay, he's a gay, like she's a gay or something like that, that is the day they actually get freedom.
Just on a lighter note, if you had to cast yourself as any of those characters, I know you're saying that you're closest to age in terms of the male characters are inspired by you, but if you had to cast yourself in any of those roles, one of the roles, so which one would you choose at this point of time?
That's a wonderful question. Yeah, but I never thought of it. I would have casted myself for Gatam.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay. Because at this
close
point in
to
your
him.
life, you're
Yeah, yeah,
closest to
that's true.
him. Uh,
Yeah.
okay. Okay. And I am a total non-actor. I can't act to save my life. So I wanted to know how you would convince
Oh
non-actors to
my
act.
God, that was a war. So I'll tell you, it was but it was easy, but I had to do a war. I'll tell you how. So all these short films, like everyone nowadays, everyone is so crazy about short films, right? So when I went to Kanchirapalam, I told only very few people that I want to make a film. Rest to every other person, I told that I'm going to make short films. Okay, so when I told short film, I'll also act, I'll also, so for some reason everyone in Kanchirpalam is a film lover. They go watch films every day, almost every day, something like people are like that. And when I told short films, everyone came forward. Yeah. So when like I was casting left and right, like lot of people, and everyone used to ask me, Babu, nee short film, what is your short film's budget? And I used to tell, no, there is no budget. This is a zero budget film. All these things I used to tell him. I used to tell, you know, like a different story to everyone. Huh? So, so one day I started workshop. That is when I had to do a war. So for these people, like for now they are professional actors, but like when people come to me today, like there are few actors, there are few people from Kanchirpalam, actors from Kanchirpalam who became professional actors right now, and they're working in a lot of films. So when they come to me telling me this and that, don't tell me all the stories. I know you in the beginning and everything. Like I actually, say them that. So what happened when I started workshop? No one used to come. No one used to come in time. For example, I'll tell you a small example, and leave the rest to your imagination. So the small kid, that Sundaram guy, every day workshop used to start at 8 o'clock, but he never came to workshop at 8 o'clock. I had to search for him one day. First day, I had to search for him the whole village, and I found that he's among the women who are doing bhajana in temple. So then I had to go to the temple. I had to request, this is the only guy, and there are like 1 2 old men sitting at the corner, but this guy is sitting in middle of all the group of women, and he was singing, and I had to yeah, and I had to request all the women, like I almost touch their feet. So and then on that day they sent this guy. But do you believe that I had to go every day to temple to request those women to bring him? And they used to tell, after one song, after two songs, like I had to bring him. Like he was not at all interested. At times I used to feel like he is not interested. Why are you insisting him to act? And I used to question myself. But then, the director in me, he is the perfect face for this character. He is the perfect face for this character. And then I used to, beg those women every day and bring this guy for a half an hour workshop. So this is just for that one person, that one guy. You don't know. There is only one person who came to the workshop regularly, who came without any jugaad, is Raju, like Subbarao garu. Subbarao garu used to come at 8 o'clock, go at 10 o'clock. He quit his job, so he somehow understood something big is happening. This guy is not just telling me. I could understand that because he's spending a lot of money. And I didn't narrate all these guys. I didn't narrate them the rest of the stories. I only narrated them their own stories, the stories that they are acting in. The rest of the stories no one knows except me, Pravina, and very few, and the technicians obviously, and very few actors. I all because I told them these are short films. Yeah. So after the shoot, like I was like few old women who don't even have teeth in their mouth. They used to tease me. Are ఆరు నెలల బట్టి తీస్తుంటారు. అరే 6 నెలల నుంచి like he's shooting a small short film in 6 months. What kind of a director he is? All those things. So my grandson did short film in 2 days, 3 days. I couldn't say anything at that point of time. And um, and, uh, and once I narrated the whole screenplay after shooting his whole part. Before shooting few scenes, I narrated the whole story to Raju Subbarao, so that there are few scenes where he has to cry because Radha is, Radha, he might miss Radha also. So all these things, before shooting all those things, I narrated. I told Subbarao Garu, so this is not a short film, and this is a big film, and this is the story. These are the rest of the stories, and because I wanted him to feel. Yeah, I wanted him to feel that he is the no, he is the this whole story is his story, right? So I wanted him to carry the whole story in. So yeah.
Yeah. So I really enjoyed, like lot of scenes, but I mean, I picked a couple of scenes which are may not be in everyone's list. So I will tell you, one of them. So Raju, gets approval from Radha's daughter for this wedding, or just like before he decides for himself that he's going to get married. Immediately, there is a scene in a temple with a drum which has this text Raju Melathalam. Raja Melathalam. Was that intentional? I was
Yeah.
stunned by that.
So actually, what happened? That property or that idea was not there in the script. So when I went there, we just thought of like I wrote it as a small montage of Radha taking blessings from the priest, and priest says Dirga Sumangali Baba, or sorry, Sigrameva Kalyana Praptirastu. Like I wanted to tell that because she's a widow. She's a widow, and no one. It's actually we don't see priests blessing widows Sigrama Kalyan Praptirastu, right? So I just wanted to make it okay. You can, if she's a widow, she can marry again. Is what I wanted to generalize there. So so while we were shooting that, we kept an extreme low shot of this guy, this priest. So somewhere, like not that shot is not there in the film because we tried a shot, extreme low angle shot of priest because it's he's proving her to get married, right? Like even the priest itself himself proving it, like that heroic shot of priest is what I wanted to capture, but we couldn't do that with whatever equipment we have. But I saw this Raju Mehlatalam in the shot. I noticed that there is this drum kit in the background where it's written like that. And then I told my cinematographer, we completed in other shots, in other magnifications, we completed their shot, and I asked my cinematographer to take an isolated shot of that drum kit, and I used it while editing also. My editor actually, yeah, you can just put music here. Why should we put this? Then I told, this is the reason. It's okay. It's okay if it is cinematic, according to cinematic language, if it is a poor making also, it's okay. But I want this to happen. So end of the day, end of the day, details are more important than cinematic language. At times, we can take liberty
No,
from
no,
cinematic
I
language.
was totally, like
I thought.
enjoying that. I mean, how did they?
Yeah, and it's like after a long time, um, there is actually, so if you see Radha or Radha's daughter or Raju's life, they're little uncertain lives. No, it's actually, he she has no father. She's a widow, but she is working, and she the daughter didn't grow up in her house with her. She grew up in mama's house since childhood. And this guy too is like, he's not a human being in the minds of the village. So he's like roaming, he's just spending his life all these are very there is no certainty, or there is no what we call an order organize. These are not organized lives, right? So I wanted to I did that scene because uh, as a montage of three different people, because um, a rhythmless three rhythmless lives are falling into a rhythm is what I wanted to convey through that. And I don't know whether people understood it or not, but yeah, that's the meaning that I
No, no, it came
wanted to
across very
convey.
well. So I also liked how the roles were reversed. So usually the young people will go and tell their parents. The father will say, if I
Yeah.
like him, if I find him suitable, I will, allow you to marry. Here, like she comes and does
Yeah.
an interview, and it was amazing actually.
Yeah, because when they get married, no, so it's not only their consent, right? It's also the third person who's going to live with them. So even she has to accept some. Like if her mother is accepting bringing someone into her own life, it means she's bringing into this girl's life also. So she has to accept him into his life, into her life also, right? So yeah, that's actually the thought behind that scene.
So Maha Kumar here. So it's
Yeah.
really been great listening to all your insights. I also wanted to ask you if you can talk about your next project. I mean, are you allowed to
Yeah.
talk about it?
No, no problem at all. Yeah, it's in my hand. So next project is a remake of Mahesh Inda Pratikaram, which is a Malayalam film. Yeah, so I'm saving the answer for the question why a remake for later later. So
Actually, that
because
was going to be my question.
yeah,
Because I was very
I
surprised when I
I
saw
will.
your name.
Yeah, I will tell you. I will tell you. It's not a big thing. I will announce it anyhow. I'm going to announce it very soon when Shobu sir is planning for that. But I'll tell you, it's not a big problem. So when I finished, I completed Kanchirapalam and I started writing my next screenplay. And it became big day by day. The scale of the film became very big day by day. Uh, the writing, the scale of the screenplay that I'm writing right now, it became big. So then Pravina and I, we both started a production house called Mahayana Motion Pictures. So what we thought is Praveen, Kanchirpalam, Praveen and I, we literally made that film with probably 12 to 15 members of crew. So any given day, there are only 15 members, mostly 15 like highest number is 15 in set. Probably, when there are like a crowd involved, there is like for 2 or 3 hours we used to have that crowd. So to be honest, we had uh, we don't have enough experience to handle a way bigger set than Kanchanjunga. A bigger set, which might have some 200 to 300 people in the set every day. As a producer, she has to learn logistics. As a director, I have to learn handling a bigger set. So then I like then Pravina told me that let's make a moderate setting film, moderate film. So then I picked a few stories that I wrote in the past, and I narrated to Pravina, and we tried to evaluate the budget. Uh, all those stories came. All the stories would cost more than what we are thinking of a moderate film, because there are like 1990s Vijayawada setup, all these things are there. So then Pravina asked me, "Do you want to remake?" Pravina, I don't want to remake. There are a lot of remake offers I'm getting these days. There are like Hindi films, Hindi hit films, Tamil hit films, Korean films. I got Korean hit films remake of. So all these things are coming, Pravina. But I don't want to do a remake. But so I have only two films that I want to remake. If I like, I saved those two stories just to remake when I become lazy, or when I can't write or something like that. So she asked me which films, and I told the names. So which films do you want? Which film do you want to remake immediately? You cannot wait to tell that story to Telugu people. So then I told Mahesh and Pratikaram. She watched Mahesh and Pratikaram and she loved it. And I told, so this is not going to be the same way. I'm going to put my interpretation, and I'm going to incorporate Telugu culture and all these things. So we thought of it and we started doing it. Like that film, this second film, for us to get experience, for me to get experience in handling bigger set, and for her to handle to get experience in handling bigger logistics. And we thought of doing it and we just did it at the same time, simultaneously I write I continued writing my next screenplay. So I made this film. So this is how Mahesh Into Pratikaram remake happened. And when we started pre-production, we got an email from Shobu Yarlagada, who is the producer of Bahubali. So he emailed me for some. He emailed us for some other reason, and in the same email he asked us, "What are you guys up to?" And we pitched him, "This is what we are doing, sir." So he also watched the film, and he and all his family watched the film, and they liked the film a lot. So and he then called me. We had a chat, and then he told me. He actually he didn't tell me. He texted Pravina that he would love to collaborate with us in making this film. So then now the whole process became very interesting, and yeah, we started. That's why when people are asking me why a remake, I like to my friends and all. I told him, see, there is a reason behind that remake. So I didn't just remake some commercially hit film or so. Yeah, it's probably a hit, but it's a way riskier film than Care of Kancharapalam. Making Mayashinta Pratikaram in Telugu is way riskier than for a director. For a director, it's actually a way riskier film than Care of Kancharapalam, because now the people know, like at least some part of the country knows the brilliance of the film of the original Mayashinta Pratikaram, and now they'll watch the adaptation also. So it means we have I have to manage. I have a lot of responsibility on my heads not to spoil a great film, right? So yeah, so that's why it gave me a lot of experience. Like to to tell you honestly, um, uh, I don't know whether it is because I was on fire while making Kancharapalam, or I don't know what's the reason. Uh, Making Kancharapalam was very easy for me than making Ugra Rupasya. Because this time we took more challenges, like making a whole film in Araku and surrounding neighborhoods is like it's very tough. It's very tough, and Pravina and I somehow and the whole team somehow managed, and without spoiling the original, somehow managed to make that film in that forest. Yeah.
Two reactions when I read that you are remaking Maheshinda Pratikaram. First
Yeah.
was I was surprised, but after that I was very happy that you are doing it. Because, like
Yeah,
you said,
thank you.
I've watched Maheshinda Pratikaram and I'm a big fan of the movie. So I'll be
Right.
really looking forward to how you have adapted it to the local culture in Andhra.
Yeah.
Where is it based out of in Andhra, if I can
It's
ask?
in
Is it in
Araku.
Vizag?
It's in Eastern
Oh,
Ghats of
okay.
Andhra Pradesh.
Okay.
Yeah, it's in Visakhapatnam district,
Okay.
but I think probably half of the people who live in Visakhapatnam, no, might have not visited places we visited in
Oh.
that district.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a very it's for me Ugrarupasya was actually adventurous.
Okay. I
Yeah.
hope we can talk to you about that after the movie
Yeah,
releases.
yeah. I don't want to talk much also because I don't want to give you some wrong expectations that you go to watch the film and you will like you just. So yeah, that's what Guru Pasya, the reason behind making Maheshinta Pratikaram is just to grab some experience. Yeah, and I'm on my way to make that's what the problem with this remake. The question is. We somehow forgot that writing and directing are two different crafts. So I wrote and made Care of Kanchirpalam, but so that's why I'm requesting everyone to see my directorial skills now. So so everyone appreciated my writing in Care of Kanchirpalam. Now you can see the directorial skills. I will like these are two different crafts, right? We can't write everything on our own. It might take for us for us to to write an original screenplay. It takes time. It's not like no. I know people. I know directors who write screenplays in 10 days, and on the 11th day the film starts. But I can't make films like that. Yeah.
Thank you so much for talking about such interesting behind the scenes things about the movies. and also giving some insights into your new movie. And we are definitely looking forward to reviewing it
Please
post its
do.
release. And I think your fans are expecting a lot post Care of Kancharapalam.